Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. I rise to respond to the question before the House, and I thank the honourable member for the question. Mr. Speaker, sir, this agreement started back in December 2019 after cabinet approval between the Ministry of Housing and the New Zealand Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Trade for a period of 3 years until December 2022. Partnership agreement. The new partnership agreement was recently endorsed by Cabinet on the 12th of September 2024 for term until April 2029 from the day of the signing, which is expected to be done before the end of this month, October 2024. The collaboration aimed to support Fiji's ambition to improve socioeconomic outcomes for low-income earners in Fiji through improved access to quality, affordable housing, support good governance between partners, and to facilitate efficient management of resources for greater efficacy and impact. Mr. Speaker, so the scope of the arrangement includes technical assistance through the provision of a housing policy advisor with the Ministry of Housing. This advisor will strengthen policy and planning efforts, support the Ministry's regulatory role, and oversee the finalization and implementation of the National Housing Policy Framework. Additionally, the advisor will facilitate Fiji's Housing Stakeholders Coordination Platform to support this initiative. NZM FET will cover recruitment and salary costs up to 6 months, totaling New Zealand dollars 1.75 million, equivalent to Fijian $2.4 million. NZM FET also co-funds the revitalization, informal settlement and the environment program, which is in short form known as RICE, which aims to improve infrastructure and implement sustainable water and sanitation management systems in 6 vulnerable informal settlements within the greater Suva area. And NZM FET will provide funding of close to New Zealand dollars 3.6 million, of Fijian dollars $5 million, and oversee governance for this initiative. The phase 1 site include Matata in Lami, which is comprised of about 62 households, Wailia Rewanga of 104 households, Moanivatu Watuanga, comprising of 96 households, Winimbua Monikoso, 43 households, Komave Nambua, 47 households, and Nalumisa Reservoir Road, which has about 91 families. The overarching objective, Mr. Speaker, is to eliminate the risk of exposure to contamination, and where we can eliminate RICE aims to reduce the community's risk to exposure to contamination by at least 80%. And RICE, through its programs, also doing this by treating wastewater in these communities, and also to reducing exposure by alleviating flooding and reducing interventions to disrupt pathway and pathogens from environment to humans. And these interventions include a few areas, key areas: drainage roads, pathways, wet boards, bathroom and toilet facilities, spot backfilling, pressure sewers, communal sewer tanks, treatment wetlands, as well as there's a demonstration site currently now at Tamawiwai, which has about 7 pressure tanks, 1 treatment wetland, 16 wet boards, spot backfilling, and 1 communal sewer tank. Mr. Speaker, sir, through this agreement, NZM FED is also co-funding the Model Town Charitable Trust, MTCT, known as Korepita, which offers subsidized, climate-resilient housing and community support services to over 1,000 residents. Both the NZM FED and the Ministry of Housing are part of the Model Town Charitable Trust governance group, with NZM FED responsible for providing COA funding support. The total funding allocated for this is around New Zealand dollars 6.1 million, and New Zealand has already provided funding of $3.2 million of Fiji and $4.4 million from 2019 to 2024. Mr. Speaker, sir, NZM FET will further assist through institutional strengthening, providing support for a two-way learning concept to the Ministry of Housing to improve overall health, structure, and functioning of the organization. NZM FET will provide funding support to the Ministry of Housing through a separate grant funding arrangement for the development of the Strategic Development Plan, or SDP. This initiative is timely, coinciding with the current launching of the 2025-2029 National Development Plan and Vision 2014. SDP will serve as a cohesive framework, aligning goals with SDG 11 and the National Development Plan. It will effectively guide the Ministry and its stakeholders in achieving strategic outcomes for the housing sector. NZM FET, Mr. Speaker, will also provide funding to support the establishment of the Ministry of Housing's National Housing Database, which we currently don't have one at the moment. Our database will be a comprehensive and centralized system to collect, maintain, and analyze data related to the housing sector at a national level to inform targeted policy intervention. And the total funding for the provision of technical assistance, institutional strengthening of the Ministry of Housing, as well as development of housing's SDP, and the establishment of National Housing Database is around New Zealand $1.7 million, equivalent to Fijian dollars of $2.3 million. The Speaker, sir, the coalition government, through the Ministry of Housing, acknowledges and thanks the New Zealand Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Trade for its support. The outcome of this partnership will create opportunities for increased access to affordable, high-quality social housing for Fiji communities. 2, increased provision and coordination of basic services to informal settlements in the Greater Suva area. And thirdly, increased strategy and planning capacity in the public sector for long-term development in the housing sector. Mr. Speaker, sir, in terms of execution and monitoring, a project steering committee will be established whose role is to govern and manage the delivery of activities within the housing sector. This committee is to meet every 3 months, and its membership comprises of a permanent secretary for Ministry of Housing, NZM FET representatives, and the Ministry of Housing advisor. The role of the committee is to provide higher-level strategic guidance, receive and review work plans and progress reports, as well as address any policy or strategy issues as they arise. Of the RISE program, Mr. Speaker, sir, a technical advisory group comprising of representatives from the Ministry of Housing and RISE Fiji will provide technical advice to the steering committee and service providers. Additionally, the partners will jointly oversee the sustainability of the model Towns Trust activity as existing members of the governance group. Mr. Speaker, sir, through this arrangement, NZM FET will provide an indicative funding amount of close to New Zealand dollars 11.5 million, of Fijian $15.9 million, directly to the service providers for the technical assistance. The program and the Model Towns Trust, subject to conditions that NZM FET will enter into within the service provider for the delivery of the above-mentioned activities and the New Zealand government policy and the appropriation by the New Zealand government parliament of sufficient funds to support the activities. And the partnership agreement, Mr. Speaker, between the Ministry of Housing will be reviewed every 3 years from the date of signing. To conclude, Mr. Speaker, sir, this partnership agreement should enhance the Ministry of Housing's services by leveraging resources, expertise, and best practices from both parties. It fosters collaboration to address housing challenges more effectively, ensures alignment with national and international goals, enhancing funding opportunities. Ultimately, Mr. Speaker, this partnership is anticipated to lead to improved housing outcomes and greater community resilience. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.